Yes, good evening, folks, and we're back with a Celtic Unrestricted View. My name's JP, and this evening I'm joined with two gorgeous big chop faces, man. Tonight I'm with Ryan and Jason. How are we, boys?
Baltic.
I'm all good, mate.
Yeah, and I think just as you picked up on that there, Ryan, we're absolutely Baltic. We're all sitting here with hoodies on because of this matter here throughout Glasgow. We are -9 in Glasgow, guys. Actually feels very good to say that because it could have been, the way the game was headed the other day, it could have been heading to -6. But what do I know? I have always says never to write off Kyogo and up he pops again. So fantastic. Some of yous are gutted, I know, but we'll not go there. We'll not get into that one. So, first of all, come to yourself, Jason. I've actually not spoke to you for probably since last year, to be honest with you. Happy New Year to you personally. It's good to see you back on, mate. How's things been? And hope the festive season was good to you.
Happy New Year, mate. It's good to see you. Aye, mate, it's quiet, but glad to get back into the routine that week in between Christmas and New Year, man. You don't know what day of the week it is, do you know? You're just like that. So
Yeah.
glad to get back into routine. Aye, I was one of the ones that was writing Kyogo off on Monday. I'll put my hands up to it now. I was giving it, he doesn't turn up in the big games and all that, and then I was quickly eating humble pie when he put that into the make it 2 each.
If you've got some crumbs there, mate, on your laces, on your...
No, mate, I know. Because I was sitting watching it with my dad, and I was saying to my dad what I was saying to you, and my dad wasn't really saying anything. And then obviously he puts it in, and he just went like that. I think you should just be quiet now, shouldn't you? And I just sort of sat there like that. Aye, all right.
I seen your comment in the group chat right enough, and obviously you must have known what was coming after that.
Aye.
When I stuck my wee voice note on for a few years, that
Mate,
was... Hence
see,
the
the thing is,
reason
as soon as Kyogo scored, I just said your face in my head, just in that laugh. I'm like, he'll be sitting there pure buzzing, by the way.
that's part of the reason why my throat sounds like I've swallowed a big batch of Jaggy and Eagles on the one go. But no, it's good to see you, big man. Big Smiler, my fellow man Andy Gray, how are we?
I'm all good, mate. As Jason says, it was, I think in terms of Kyogo, I actually said it to my old man. I thought it wasn't his fault that he wasn't in the game. It just wasn't in the game. But I say, people going to, like I say to you the late JP, people start going, aye, same as Fat Boy of the road. He's not scored against us. That's him, he's only main man anymore. And I was like myself, he's going to get his critics because he's not scored today, because he's not a chance. He had one chance, which people were giving him a bit of jip about it. It was behind him a wee bit, you know what I mean? So he tried his best, he miskicked it, all right, he miskicked it, but he didn't really have a sniff in the game. But the sniff he gets, the sniff he scored. But I'm all good, mate. I'm actually quite happy about the game of Sunday now. The minute I've looked at it, we've come out the far better. Like me and you spoke after the game, I think it's totally sickened them. And obviously a few things I know that we'll speak about that happened in the game, and the aftermath it became even clearer. But apart from that, I'm all good. -9, I'm all happy days.
Absolutely fantastic to hear. Well, today, ladies and gents, boys and girls, men and women, whoever's listening in and watching us, it appeared though the report this morning that Celtic have arranged a meeting with the SFA to get some answers as to why VAR is being used the way it is against us. Now I say it that way because it seems to be one rule for us and a different rule for other teams. If you look at penalties that have been gave against us this season, one being the one off Alexandro Bernabe against Dundee United, and then the other being Matt O'Reilly against Ross County. I'm going to come to you first for this, Jason. I'm absolutely stunned. I mean, I actually, as I said in the group chat, and I think I said to you on Sunday ring, I actually did not see that in live play. I genuinely wasn't paying attention to that moment. But the more you now see that, Jason, I honestly don't know what's happened. I cannot get between John Beaton being the referee on the field to then Willie Collum sitting watching, supposed to be doing the VAR. Now, I don't know if he was doing the VAR or he was, I don't know, sitting polishing his shoes or maybe even sitting doing a crossword or something. But how is that? What part of that isn't a penalty? Connor Goldson became the goalkeeper. So, where do we go? Look, what's going to be the explanation for? You can't even start that way. I'm sorry. It's too late. So, I think Celtic are well within their rights in that moment to be asking for answers, Jason. I really do. And I think it's no before time that because we cannot let this continue. It seems to be that the goalposts are being constantly moved as we move on to the next game and the next game and the next game. There is no transparency. There is no clarity on what's being said. So we as fans, whether we're in the stadiums or at home or in the pubs or wherever you may be watching those games, we don't know what's going on and what's happening in his ear. Now, I know there's a couple of videos, and if you're a lip sync expert or a lip reader expert, or it kind of looks like he says to, I think it's Callum McGregor, it's no down to me, or it's no down to me, or whatever way he pronounces it. Well, you're the referee. You're the referee. So unless that rule's changed, then in my opinion, the VAR rules changed also. That's what I'm saying about the no clarity or no transparency as to what's going on. I do think, mate, that Celtic are well within their rights to be chatting the SFA's door to ask why decisions are being made the way they are whenever something crops up and it's something to do with Celtic.
No, listen, this isn't the first incident that we've had with this season. I'll admit as well that there was sort of two incidents that happened very quickly in that box, because I thought there was he turned to the side before it and there was a handball, but it did come off his ribcage with that one, and then with the actual handball, mate, how John Beaton doesn't see that he's mate, see if his hands are it's like he's front his face, I could maybe be like that, right, okay, but his hands are up there, and he knew it was a handball. He knew that he was waiting for to blow the whistle. Now,
I mean, McGregor's actually standing there waiting and Goldson holding on to that, isn't he?
Aye, right. No. Okay, John Beaton might miss it because the game might be moving quick and all that. I can totally accept that. But it's the fact that VAR have looked at that and not told John Beaton to go to the screen and look at that again as genuinely unbelievable. I couldn't believe it when it didn't go. Now, if you look at the ones that we've had going against these guys, right? Matt O'Reilly, Ross County, nothing could have done about that one. Goes to the screen right away, gets checked, penalty to Ross County.
Yeah.
The Bernabei one, where he's not even his arm's up like that gets checked, gets given to go and check with the VAR, and then you've got the one that started all this at Tynecastle, who asked. By the way, for me, the Tynecastle one and the Conor Goldson one is the most two blatant handballs I've seen the full season, and it's the two ones that haven't been.
Just for obviously the people watching us, do you refer back? Is that the one with James Forrest when he hits Michael Smith's hand?
It's the two most blatant handballs I've seen. I'm going to even go to stretches of that. They probably shouldn't even be getting checked with VAR. They should be getting given in normal time, especially the one against, the one with James Forrest at Tynecastle. That shouldn't even have went to VAR.
Yeah.
So for me, in my opinion, and I probably share the most Celtic fans' opinions. I know that you two will agree that the way that I see it now is that there is an agenda against Celtic when it comes to this, because you can't. It's happening too many times for it not to be in it, for it not to be that. Do you know what I mean? And it's I'm not going to say 100% guarantee, but see if that had happened in our boxing Monday, it's a penalty. In my opinion, it's a penalty. Celtic, I think Celtic should have went to the SFA with this before now, but I think that's been the one that's the straw that broke the camel's back for me, and I think that I totally back them with investing in it, because we want answers. See if they can turn around and give us a valid reasons to why they've done it, then fair enough. But I don't think they will.
Yeah, just before I bring you back in, Ryan, I've actually had the privilege of going and watching the game again. Because obviously, once we're going to have a chat about these things, you know what I'm like, mate. I like to try and mull over things and get my head clear on what I'm going to say about it. I've watching it back, and when I said to you the other day, speaking to you after the game, even in live play, I never noticed it. See, watching it back today, knowing fine well I knew it was coming, then I could look out for it. Even in live play, that's a stonewall penalty. And for any of the guys watching us or anybody, I'm just going to put up a nice wee still photo of a potential new number one goalkeeper for them next season. And he
was actually in Team of the Week for the goalkeeping position. It was actually a save.
Apparently, I'm trying to sign him to be the goalie for the wee shooting drills and that Jimmy Bullard and that like today. I don't know if that's true or not, mate. But that's a photo there, and I know people can say, right, you can do anything with a still shot. Well, you can't, because that's just a kind of side angle as to a slowed down version of live play, basically, when it hits his hand. Now, initially, Ryan, before I bring you in, mate, me and you had a chat, and you thought the same as me. And I'm glad I wasn't going round the twist, totally. Well, it seemed I wasn't, and then I had a chat with you, and then I realised I was. But we thought initially that it hits off the top, like his toe, and bounces up the way. And I said it on the group chat, and they all thought I was Looney Tunes. Now, that, again, when you see it for the first time, that's what some people probably looked. I never seen it hit his hand till I've saw about 40 replays now. And obviously, Ryan, the more you see it, the worse it becomes. Like, the actual worse it becomes. Don't know what your thoughts are, mate, but it just sickens me when you've got a game like that, of that magnitude, it's on Sky TV, and we've brought in a technology, supposed to be an assistant referee, to help the refs, because, like say, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, he might not have seen it in live play, which is fine. That's why we have this technology, to go, and he's got a colleague sitting in the box, or in the room, or wherever he is, telling him, John, the way that should go is, John, you need to go to the monitor. That's a clear handball. You need to go to the monitor because I think that's a penalty. guys, that's what he should have been hearing in his ear. That's the clarity, that's the transparency there. John, you need to go to the monitor because it's come up and hit his hand. His hand's in an unnatural position, therefore it's a penalty under the VAR rules. John goes to the monitor, checks the monitor, probably needs to look at it once or twice. If you're lucky, comes back out, does his wee signal, VAR, penalty. That's the way that should have went. Instead of that,
the thing is though, JP, sorry.
Hold on a minute, Jace. We're wasting minutes on it to then conclude a decision, whether it be he's going to the monitor or he's not going to give that at all. Sorry, Jason, you go.
But see, the thing is, as well, so you're saying that about the conversation, is it because we don't hear the conversation? Has he maybe said that and he's just been like that, well, it's not a penalty, so he's taking that decision upon himself then? This is the thing.
It wouldn't appear so, because if that conversation would have taken place, then surely John Beaton himself, he's an experienced ref now, he's been there a few years now. Surely if he's then went against what Wally Collum saying to him in his ear, surely that's a breach of some sort of rule, or because if he's been told to go to the monitor and then he decides not to go to the monitor, there's a guy in his ear with clear evidence of the actual what's taking place. So he needs to go to the monitor then to look at that. And if no, then he's no fit for purpose then in doing the position that he's actually there, in my opinion.
No, I would agree with that.
Obviously, I'll come to you, Ryan, and obviously your thoughts. But for me, mate, that just gets worse every time you see it.
How long do you go tonight?
I've got to work in the morning.
I was going to say, let me rephrase that. Try and shorthand that as best as you can, Ryan.
A pen and paper then, will there be essay about this? Anybody who listens to the podcast knows I'm quite vocal about all this, so I'll try and keep it short as I can. But it's not the first time before VAR that's happened, so it's not just all about VAR. It's happened years and years. But other clubs now are starting to realise that the VAR is not just Celtic. It's happened to them as well. Goldstein's got a habit of handballing things, and he's got a habit of no getting stuff against him. It happened against Hearts. It's happened against us. It's happened against other teams. I'm not saying that I'm not going to sit here and say a referee is going to give anything against us. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they need to go by the rules of the VAR or the rules of the laws or what they need to do. Like Jason says, JP, if he's been told that to go look at the monitor, or he's been whatever he's been told, he's got to follow through with it. Right? I get that, but he's still the main man in charge. Like you said about, he said to McGregor, "Well, it's not up to me." It is up to you. You're the referee. You're the main man. That's video assistant referee. That's to help you. That's not to tell you to run the game. See if that's the way it's going to be. Why don't we get a robot in the middle of the park and get a baby referee and just tip the robot? Right, is that a foul? Is that a red card? Is that offside? What is the point in the referee then?
Yeah, he's clearly been told not to go to the monitor.
It takes the referee, in my opinion.
We want to know why.
Aye, it takes the referee out of the game, because the referee is getting told, like, that's not a penalty, right? It's not a penalty. But you're the one that's seen it all. But the fact that I've looked at it plenty of times, so have you, Jason, know yourself. Everybody I know went back and looked at all these decisions, right? It's a clear penalty. Now, I know we moan about the time it takes, right? But see if they need to take a few minutes to really get something right, I don't mind that. Sometimes it's a wee silly things like Celtic Park with the Livingston one.
Yeah.
That takes 30 seconds. See if it's something like that they need to look at 5 or 6 angles, then so be it. So be it. I know what, I don't want it to be that long, but if it's a difference between winning a league title or not winning a league title or winning a cup, then aye, there. He's got all the angles to look at. He's got slow, fast, middle paced angles, speed, whatever. There's no rush to decide it. If it's a minute or 5 minutes, aye, we want it quick. But well, I'm I'm not really fussed about John Beaton here. It's maybe about Wally Collum. Well,
Yeah, because it would appear that Wally Collum has actually refereed the game in that moment.
John Beaton's obviously been told by whoever's doing the VAR laws, if it's FIFA, whoever, UEFA, whoever it is, they've obviously been briefed how this works, and he's obviously been told when it comes to this, it's they that tell them what to do. And he's been told that it's not a handball, right? At the time, me and you spoke the other night, I didn't think it was a penalty at live play because it was too quick.
Yeah.
But the more you look at it, I've looked at it from all sorts of angles. I've watched the highlights back. I've watched a bit of the game back. I've watched everything to make sure I know what I'm saying as well. And it's a stonewall penalty. You can't get away from it. No Rangers fan, Aberdeen, anybody who's watching that game, if you're a Man U fan, if you're down south, you cannot say that's not a penalty. And the fact that could have been deciding us to actually get a penalty, score a goal, and then maybe go and win the game, or it could be between us getting a draw or a defeat. And I think if it finished 2-1, because I'm sure that was before we get second goal, wasn't it? It was, wasn't it?
Aye.
Was
it? Just before it.
I'm sure it was, wasn't it? It was, wasn't it?
I think it was. No, I think it might have been just after we scored. Yep. I think that was. I think we had already scored to make it 2-2, and then that came.
That time it was right, but either way, that could be the difference between you getting something and no getting something, and they've not been able to. But all the technology they've got now, it's not like John Beaton's got that at first face, and then he can't see it again.
Yeah.
Had time to sit down, stand in the centre, wherever he's standing, and listen to them looking at that. And they can't decide what it is, and they go, it seems to me now that they're not just Celtic games here, by the way. It's like they're guessing. Like, there's got to be a conspiracy, like you say. What is see, for as long as I played football, right? I know I've not played in 5 years, right, due to injury. But see, when I played, a handball was, if you put your hand to the ball when you meant it, it was a handball. If I hit off you, it's not a handball, because what can you do about that? What can you do about a ball hitting you in the horn? You can't do enough about it. But if you can up, like Golson was, I've never known any. See, when I played football, right? Aye. See, I don't know how to say this without swearing, right? But see, if I done that and basically shot myself, right, like that in a tackle, I'd be getting absolutely shirked off my teammates, my dad, my manager, your shitbag, basically. Do you know what I mean?
It happened to me with my football team.
Mate,
I get sent off for it, straight red, 3-match ban.
It's clear as day. And I think I genuinely believe that this is going to be something to do with Peter Lawwell. This is why he's back, because he's going to change Morton, because I think they know now that he's maybe looked at this for afar. I don't think Peter Lawwell is going to get anywhere near the inside of the things. He's doing stuff behind the scenes just to help the club, i.e. this stuff, because I think I've had enough. I think they've not wanted to upset the apple cart, because sometimes if you go against the SFA or you try and complain, it backfires. And I think maybe they're trying to bide their time. Maybe it should have been 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but at least they're still doing something new. I feel that something will come out of this, because there's too many things happening, like the James Forrest and the Burnaby there, O'Reilly as well. That's free. Golson's got a baby. How many? They get
everyone up at Aberdeen, I know. They get everyone, I know, up at Aberdeen.
I seen one today, and it was when Hamilton were in the league. And
I remember that.
And he actually saves the ball with his arm.
I remember that.
Down underneath him.
See,
I think the refs Alan here.
There is proof.
He's looking right at it and doesn't do anything about it.
There's proof with this, right? Is that out of the 12 teams in the league, they've not had a penalty against them since VAR came in. Why is that? Why is that?
There's no one all season against them.
Why is that? So are they trying to tell us a team that's conceding as many goals as they're conceding is perfect at the back and are they giving away penalty decisions and all that? Come on.
See, for me, right, I don't know if I'm trying to think of this as a general aspect, no just against us, right? see the laws of the game, right? I'm being honest with you, right? Because I've not played football in a while, right? I couldn't tell you the way the full laws are, right? I couldn't. I'd be a liar if I said I could, right? Because I think they've changed since then. Some of the laws have changed, right? They've got to come out and say, right, what exactly is a handball? What exactly could be a handball? And what exactly is 100% no? Because we're getting things against us and it's never a handball. We're getting things for us. We've had one or two inches again for us, and I'm thinking to myself, how did we get that? There's things
I think why Celtic have went forward today isn't just because of what happened at the weekend. I think why Celtic have went forward today is because a combination of rule changing and moving goalposts to see fit in moments. I'll go back to James. Hold on a wee minute, Jace. Hold on, mate. I'll bring you in a second.
Sorry, mate.
I'll go back to the James Forrest incident with the Bhoy Smith Hearts at Tynecastle. Apparently, we were told after that, and we got it in written form and evidence. We were told that the rule was then going to be changed in terms of the VAR that day with that handball. Now, years ago, it used to be if it was accidental, it was accidental. Now it's if your hand's in an unnatural position, which means anything above your waist is unnatural. Whether it be here, or here, that's unnatural. So if your arms are down by your side and the ball hits your hand, it's not a penalty. However, the ref has the right to go to the monitor should he deem that not accidental. That's a bit I'm confused with as well. But it's got to be within reason and it's got to be valid. Now, whether he thinks you are trying to intervene with a pass or you're trying to disrupt the play, which would be the phase of the play, wherever the ball's coming from, going from A player to B player, which would be his colleague. It sounds mental, right? But apparently the rule was changed and the VAR ruling is now if your hand is in an unnatural position, whether it be accidental or deliberate, it is then a penalty. Well, I'm afraid that rule didn't apply on Sunday. So therefore, that is one of the other reasons why Celtic have asked for clarity. If you're wanting a night off, mate, just ask. You don't need to just kind of draft on it. You go, see, he's away again.
No, I'm just adding something, mate, to the wee.
If you were wanting a night off, mate, you can have. It's not a problem. I don't mind if you need to shorthand things and you can just say it, right?
Probably VAR. We'll get some stats up for you. There's that one say there. Have a look at that.
Right, so we've got the Premiership penalties faced this season and how many after VAR came in. So the rest have all got numbers, obviously. Ross County have got 1, St Johnstone 2, Dundee United 3, Kilmarnock 3, Motherwell 3, Hearts 5, Celtic 5, Livy 6, Hibs 7. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Is St Mirren and Aberdeen both joint in 8?
Yes.
Right. And at the very top of that pile, we have a number 0.
Right.
The inside of a tournament.
Another one here, right?
Okay. Premiership penalties won this season and how many came in after VAR? Okay. So we've got 2 because we won one at Livingston and the other one at Easter Road. Have they won 5?
5.
5, does that say?
That is astounding.
Well, considering they are world-class fullback, as they call him, who nearly threatened the position of Kyle Walker for the World Cup we helped, apparently. That's if you support him, then obviously that was some of the part that they were hitting away with before the World Cup squad was selected for the team down the road.
Fucking Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, obviously, I would imagine he had kicked his breeks a wee bit, Kyle Walker, thinking that James Tavernier, who mostly can't keep Waynes out of close, was about to take his position for a World Cup squad. But he's apparently scored his 100th career goal. I would love to see the stats, because I reckon about 97 of them have got to be penalties.
100%.
I know you're laughing, man, but I honestly think if you make him a penalty taker and just say he didn't miss for 3 years, Carter Vickers would probably be one of the best centre halves in the world then. It's just ludicrous, isn't it? It's crazy. It is absolutely mental. But yeah, that's why Celtic have asked for clarity, Jace. It's not just one or two reasons, mate. There's a combination of things that have happened over the last couple of months. It seems to be that the goalposts are being moved. And obviously the next thing I'm going to come to you is the penalty incident that was given in the match on Sunday. Now, I've had to look back at it a few times as well. I've had to change my opinion, because I firstly was one of the first ones to say, no, Stonewall penalty, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was. I've looked at it back now, and I don't know why that's a penalty. Carter Vickers, I was going to say. I've not actually seen Carter Vickers slide like that before. But Big Starfelt likes to do it because his timing's pretty decent. He's actually sliding in to cut out what he thought was going to be a square ball or a cutback across goal from Sakala. I think he started to pull out because he realised that Sakala wasn't good enough to square the ball, and didn't have that actual ability. He's in the deep of it, so he's then unable to pull out of the slide. But then Sakala stands on the top of Starfelt's foot, which therefore Starfelt still continues to slide momentarily, making Sakala lose his balance and fall over. But with the action of being a penalty would mean he slides in and he takes Sakala out again. But that's not what happened. He slid in, Sakala stood on top of his foot, and there was a penalty given. And then obviously we've seen afterwards, guys, which is a bit shameful, if I'm being honest, and a bit it lacks professionalism, and it lacks.
Just say it, mate. He was cheating.
No, I'm not. No, I've got my. No, I've got. I know what I'm going to say. It just lacks professionalism.
He's been articulate.
And it lacks anything to do with the game, in my opinion. And there's this video of ours now, Sakala fist pumping under his body, knowing fine well he's won his team a penalty. In my opinion, this will be part of Celtic's evidence to take to the SFA as well. And we'll probably not hear the end of what Sakala's done, because I am afraid that that's in a breach of fair play rules, as far as I'm aware. And therefore, Sakala himself could be having his door chapped by the compliance officer for that action alone. When he's actually holding his hamstring. Why, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're that soft that it was ready to fall off and he was just holding it back on. I don't know. But when you see that sort of thing as well, and I know, listen, I'm not daft. I've played football, Ryan, you know that yourself. When you've been involved with football for quite some time and you know the game, then you know it goes on. It happens everywhere. It doesn't matter. But you're in front of the Sky cameras and you've done that, and now you've been caught, made to look like an numpty. And okay, you got your team a penalty, but what did it get you in the end? Nothing. You're no further forward to when you began the game. So, in my opinion, mate, the incident itself wasn't a penalty, but there was no, the feel need factor to go to VAR. In my opinion, John Beaton had a clear indication as to he went to he pointed to the spot. But the reason I think John Beaton did that was because of what I thought initially, which was that Starfelt had slid in and taken the legs away for Sakala. I don't know really any other reason why he would have then, but after watching it back, mate, I don't think it was a penalty. What about yourself, Jace?
I didn't think it was a penalty right away. I said it wasn't a penalty. But I think with that one's probably a bit more that Starfelt's bent to the ground, so he's gave the referee a decision to make. Do you know what I mean? So it's probably a bit more complicated than that with that one. So he's gave him the decision to make, and in that time he thought it was a penalty because probably from where he was standing, like you said, JP, that it looked as if he took his leg away. But from my telly, where we were watching it, which would be where the VAR was watching it, you can clearly see.
Any camera views, big man. So what are we talking here?
So you can clearly see Sakara going like that on live television. So you see him going like that. Now, again, if a referee and VAR's watching that, you should be like that. You need to check that. He's been done and he's fist pumped and then he's holding his hamstring again. He gets a penalty and he books Starfelt for it as well, by the way.
Does anybody actually listening? Sorry, Juice. Does anybody listening in know if that footage of Sakala fist pumping actually came from the TV cameras or did it come from any fan camera video in that moment?
I seen it on TikTok, so it's probably a fan.
I seen it, mate. Celtic
right? No, definitely not.
Celtic will have seen that 100%, and I think they will use it because, in my opinion, again, I definitely share the same opinion as you, is that that's cheating. What he's done, 110% cheating. Now I remember briefly that there was a player down in England that done the same thing, and I'm sure he get banned for it. I can't remember what player it was, but I remember something happening that it was in another league, and he done the same thing, and it might have been Neymar, and he get banned for it because he's effectively diving. And
just as we're on this just now, I've got a comment in from Cal McCaster, and he says it's another camera angle. Now he comments up on a second comment there to add to that, saying it was actually a Sky camera.
Oh, there you go then.
He was able to pick that up. The video you've probably seen, Ryan, it's probably been copied and then obviously it's been moved on. But
yeah, right. See, in terms of, I would like to know how many and what angles they're getting. Is it just a one angle they're getting, or is it where's the angle? Is it for the side of the goal, front of the goal, behind? Where are these cameras? Because we shouldn't know that anyway, right? We're only fans, right? I get that, right? But for the referee, surely they should know exactly where they are. Right, I'm what you see. Well, I'm Mel at JP, right? At the time, I did say to my old man, "I looks a bit soft. I want to see that again. This could be a penalty, but I want to see it again." And the angle showed me, I went, right, I can see why it's been given, right? But I was like, I don't want to seem dead biased here, but I was like, right, it could be a penalty, right? And then, like me and JP spoke, and after the game is Monday, sorry. I looked at it again. I've looked at it, the Goldson one and the Starfelt one, every day since Monday. Yesterday and the day. I've looked at them closely. It's not a penalty, the men are looking at it.
Yeah.
Starfelt has not touched. I get what you're saying, Jason, and I said that as well. Starfelt gave the referee a massive decision to make because he's went to grunt. And it does look, maybe for John Beaton's angle, that Sakala's been tripped because the way Starfelt shot in. And
that's in live play as well, Jay. So obviously you need to forgive us because in live play, to me, when you look at the camera view that we're seeing in live play, it looks as if he just swipes the legs away from him.
There's a comment on the YouTube. I think Alexander's right.
But you can see why he has gave that one.
I'm just about to bring that up, Ryan, in a second, mate. Jace, obviously we were chatting there, and Alexander Ferguson has commented, Jason, that may have been David Luiz as he got Raphael sent off in the Man United versus Chelsea game.
That's it, aye. I'm sure he get banned for it.
Now that that's come up now, I do have a small recollection of that moment, actually, yeah.
I'm
and
sure,
I think
I'm
David
sure
Luiz did have to serve a ban. Was he no winking at the camera or something? Or?
Something like that. He done something, and then he gets it off, and it was his reaction after it. And the FA, the English FA were like that. No, he's getting banned for that. So if Sky's picked that up with him,
aye,
and Celtic go to the SFA and say, well, how's that? They're going to need to ban him.
Because I'm not going to lie, right? Anybody who knows me up
there's Cal McMaster's come back in again,
and
he said that the record's actually reported on it as well. So I would imagine, guys, that Celtic will have probably taken that to the SFA along with their VAR inquest as well, because, like I says, in these silly issues and silly things as it may seem to others, they're now starting to mount up against us.
See on the VAR thing, JP.
And it's not just everybody's against Celtic. That's not what we're saying. But there's a compiling book now starting to arise now, and it's incident after incident, and it seems to have been from VAR's come in. We seem to have been shafted with VAR time and time again, whether it be a daft decision here or a penalty given against us there, or we should have got a penalty there and didn't. But then they change the rules and make it something else. And then when the actual rule's supposed to come into play, it doesn't, because they're allowed to have two goalkeepers, one on the line and one in the 18-yard box, apparently. That's I know you're laughing, but that's...
No, I know what you mean. No, I know.
He gave a corner. He gave a corner. So they're not allowed two goalkeepers, one in between the sticks.
Did you know he made a booking for the hanging with Tavernier when the two of them went for the ball?
No, obviously I was going to bring that up anyway, Ryan, but no, he didn't, Jace. But what he did do was go to VAR.
And they booked him for it?
No, Maeda didn't get booked.
He did.
There was only two bookings in the game, Ryan. It was Ryan Jack and Starfield who all two were booked.
I thought
even at that though, Tavernier would be that. See if you'd to ask Tavernier, he'd put that's two players going for a ball and I've come out worse off. That's what's happened with that. So then that brings another question. Why is that getting checked by VAR and the coaching isn't it? Why is that?
I actually think Tavernier might actually have a broken nose after that incident, and it looks sore because I've seen a reverse angle of a video on the two of them colliding.
I can see
it
why.
It does look sore, aye.
Yeah. I can see why they gave it right. We see at the time. I was like, right, the two of them are challenged for the ball. You can't get a foul because you see the deceit. Look, fair enough, so to play, get them treatment, and maybe they a bounce ball or something, right? But if I'm gave a foul against me for challenging a header, when I'm looking at the ball, I can see the
ball's pointless then, Ryan.
But the two of them are going to the two of them are going to speed for the ball, so it can't be to be careless on my head because Tavernier's got hurt. Do you know what I mean? I can see why it's been gave, right? As I said on the group chat, it did look a tiny bit dangerous, right? But it was dangerous for the both of them because the both of them challenged. It was just unfortunate Tavernier came out the worst because he got injured for it. That the conspiracy of fibbles and free kicks and whatever else, it's all different every game now. And this is what I'm saying about VAR. VAR is meant to help, right? For what I can see so far, it's not helping. It's making things worse because the referee, in my opinions, I'm just going to say it's taking football away from football. It's taking referees out of football because the referees are no doing their job properly because they're listening to technology and a guy talking in his ear. See the one with Starfield, right? see if John Beaton had any inkling that he thought that was soft or well, no soft, but it couldn't have not been a penalty or whatever, and he'd a wee split second going, do you know what? I might need to go look at that myself. You don't need him to tell you. If you think that maybe, again, this might not be the rules. I'm just thinking from my perspective if I was a referee.
Yeah.
If I think that's because of the technology now these days, see if I know that maybe I'm not sure about that, I might go take a look at the monitor for that. I shouldn't need somebody to tell me, by the way, go look at the monitor. If I think I've maybe made a mistake here, I'll go to the monitor without them telling me. I think maybe us as fans shouldn't get the privilege of knowing everything, right? But the clubs and whoever else, they should know exactly, like JP said earlier about the home ball rule, right? See if you're running for the ball and the ball hits your horn. In my opinion, that should not be a handball. You're running for the ball, or etc. See if you're coming out to close a guy down, you can't go at that with your horns on your back because that's your half balance and you can't get a tackle. So
apparently, did you hear McFadden?
I think I did.
Apparently, that's the way teams are being coached now at set plays.
See,
what?
So anybody's watching.
Have your horns down by your side or run behind your back. Apparently, coaches now are setting up set plays. Apparently, coaches now are setting up set plays to play like that now.
See if you watch football, right? Watch any game if it's down south, junior, amateur, SBL. You'll see at least one defender a game going like that with a hand behind their back.
I do that. See every time. See if when I'm playing on a Sunday and a corner comes in and it goes back out, I run out the box like that.
See, that's taking football with football. How can you then get into a position to go and challenge or go and turn your body? You can't, because you're not balanced. Your horns are meant to be in front of you like that, so you can twist and turn and so you're fucking mobile. Sorry for swearing there, but you're mobile. Do you know what I mean? This is where I get really frustrated with it, and you can see I'm passionate about it because it's not just Celtic players, it's not just Rangers players or Aberdeen. Everybody's affected. Everybody's affected by it. It's down south, it's abroad. Everywhere's affected by it. Obviously, abroad and down south do it better than us because we're just very, very novice in the now when it comes to VAR, right? But I'm happy Celtic are doing it now. Maybe 5 years, 10 years or whatever, too late about referees. But I believe they're going to do something now. I really believe they're going to do something. And Cal...
Got a wee comment here. I've actually got a wee comment here, Ryan. It's for Robert Davey. He says, I'm 64 and it's always been that way, nothing new.
See, Robert,
my dad actually is the same age as you, Robert, and he says the exact same thing all the time.
I try my best, right?
This isn't something we're seeing that's new.
I try my best to really honestly give the referees benefit of the doubt. I really honestly try and be unbiased as I can and balanced. I really try and do, but see now, I'm getting older now. I'm just thinking, look, I can't. I generally can't. I can only, especially on here, right? We're on a podcast. You try your best to be. I don't want to come out and say he's cheating or he's doing this, he's doing this. But see, in terms of Sakala, I'll say he was cheating because I know why he was cheating because I done it. I'm being honest. Anybody who's played football with me or knows me when I played football, I was a wee bit a diver. I'm being honest with you. I couldn't care. People can slate me for it. See if I'm my team to win when I game of football, I've done whatever I could. I'm not saying I dive for Sakala. I maybe had to defend. Referee. I've still got touched, but I've done and made the referee. I've conned the referee. Right? I get a few knocks on the game. I get a few bookings for it. But I'm being honest with you. I was a winner for 90 minutes. I done what I could to win. Right? But there's hitting yourself and then falling, and then there's blatantly going up going, yes, get in there. I've conned everybody. That's different.
Yeah.
That's blatant cheating. And the fact that it's getting picked up now, I'm agreeing with you, JP and Jason. I definitely believe that this will get used. The fact that the papers are reporting it, I think it will get in the piece itself that's going to go to the SFA. But I think this is all shadowing as well that we can back and do to each. And as Michael Stewart said today, it's no over to the fat lady sings. And when Kyogo scored, the fat lady sung because they're sick.
That's enough. Stop talking about me like that, you.
They're absolutely sick. And everything I've seen about all the forums and some people I know and the Twitters, they're absolutely sick. They're trying to say that we played really well, and due to this and mistakes, Celtic made 2 mistakes that cost them the game. Well, not cost them the game, but cost them the win. See if Joe Hart did not make that mistake, I'm going to put my neck in the line and say Celtic would have won the game by more.
In my opinion,
I think so.
In my opinion, lads, I don't think that changed the game. That's not what changed the game, in my opinion. I haven't watched the game back. I've now see before that happened, before that Joe Hart incident, Juranovic keys a ball away about 4 times.
He was dreadful, by the way.
The thing is, Jace, that's what changed the game for me. The fact that Taylor had to come off.
When we Oxo went off.
When me Oxo came off, and obviously the game changed. But then we're now hearing today as well that there's an inquest in because apparently between the Celtic physio and me Oxo, there was a missile flung at both of them from the stands. And how much obviously that's going to blow up and what that's going to do in terms of reporting on that fixture, etc. But just before we go any further, this isn't very often, and obviously I'm going to gloat as most people would. But Cal's come back saying JP is right. Only Jack and Starfelt got booked.
No, yes.
I must say to you, Cal, it's not often with this crowd, mate. I'm right, but I seem to be doing it okay tonight. Definitely.
And Monday with Kyogo as well.
I'm not. When it comes to Kyogo, I think by now
that's what he does. That's what he does.
I'm just quite passionate, mate. That's all. And hence the reason why my throat sounds like this. But
you have to have a
obviously, again,
you have to have a podcast. I'm like that, I know.
Aye.
Well, obviously finding out earlier, the other news you were chatting earlier, and obviously that you were a cheater. For anybody that watches the show, Ryan will be saying his farewells at the end of tonight here, because we just here at Unexpected View, we just don't condone that sort of behaviour whatsoever.
But I've also got a dodgy boat, so I'm a cheater on my days, know what I mean?
I'm in no position to comment.
You brought that up tonight. Absolutely terrible. But getting back to what we were saying there in terms of wee Oxo, if anybody doesn't know, I call wee Oxo Greg Taylor because I just think he's different gravy. So that's why we always have a bit of banter the way we do on here, because the wee man's been absolutely different. He's never a world this season.
But what about that comment to Morelos? But man, I was buckled when I seen that, by the way.
Yeah, and that's there seems to be T-shirts and fridge magnets and all sorts being made up with that already. And for anybody that probably doesn't know, here's the incident we're talking about here.
Yeah, is there any chance that we can?
I actually don't know. Again, here, I don't know if John Beaton thinks that Fat Boy is actually going to fall over and he's just making sure he doesn't, or he's just trying to, if his arms out in an unnatural position, by the way, to stop him from slabbering oil at top of wee Oxo. I don't know what one it is, but definitely, what a aftermath of that. Now there's been, and there's all sorts of emojis, gifs, stickers, fridge magnets, T-shirts. People have got their pillowcase.
Way that we can make a slogan up to make money. Because that's what the fans are doing. They'll make money after Greg Taylor saying, hey,
what we should do is the next couple of podcasts we'll bring up the fact the night you've said you've cheated, and then you can get one of the T-shirts made up why always me.
That's fine. And then Jason, we can do a collab now. Oh,
we can.
Starting a trend for a new boy band, are we? We'll just call you the Wrong Direction.
T-shirts for only fans, you know, go to our show. Fantastic, man.
And by the way, don't ask me to collaborate shows. It's no happening, all right? It's definitely no happening. That's just no in it at all. No, I thought it was hysterical, the Greg Taylor incident. I thought it really was, and I actually thought it was a good bit of banter for the wee man as well, not taking any nonsense, because we're fed up seeing him try to throw his weight about in that fixture. and people just accepting it and just we'll get a wee comment for Shelley just based on wee Oxford and now. Any news in Taylor? I've heard it was his hamstring. Nothing yet, Shelley. We have not heard anything. The club seem to have went a bit quiet on it as well. Whether that means he's been and had a scan or he's still to do so, we'll not know. But as we move on, I think it's apparent that we're probably going to have to, in the next couple of games anyway, because that's now the last 2 games he's had to come off injured, both being the Hibs game and now the game at Ibrox. I think he's probably not going to make the next game. I think it's safe to say that, Shelley. So, and again,
no play.
But then that's the thing, Jason. That was what I was coming to now. Does the manager have enough belief in the guy? Because why would they bring a guy on who, first of all, looked like a fish out of water? Looked as if he was just out his bed. I don't know if he was taking the same stuff as David Fernandez used to when he came off the bench for us, remember? But he just looked totally gone. He looked totally gone. Like, I know you're laughing, Ryan, but I don't know if he was maybe sniffing that cup or something. I don't know. But he just looked totally gone for the minute he was still trying to put his boot. And do you know what he was doing or not? He had his, do you know, he actually, somebody told me he actually had his boot on the ring fit, and that's when the camera zoomed into the... by the way, this isn't kidding on. He supposedly had his right boot on his left foot.
I think he was still mad with it, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's been totally away with it. I don't know. But then obviously you hear of this, there's been a bug going through the squad, blah, blah, blah. That's came out after the game, and I'm glad it did as well. I'm glad that came out after the game, because that's all we would have heard was, oh, here's our excuses coming, blah, blah, blah. We still got something for the game. But then Ange mentions it after the game that there was a bug running through the squad within the last 10 days. It started off with Jota, and it filtered in through the rest of the squad, which is why Abada, Jota had started the game on the bench. But there's a guy I know quite closely, and I was told that he had his right boot on his left foot, and that's when the camera zoomed into him, and that's what he was in the middle of doing, fixing that. Because I think it was somebody on the bench that says, you've got your boot on your ring foot. So he's not paying attention. Like I says, he's away in that David Fernandez world he has. It was whatever he was doing. Away in the Milky Way somewhere.
These were a friendly bunch.
But no, you know what I mean, Ryan. But it was like he just looked like a fart in a spacesuit. He was miles off it.
He just looked like Mafia 3D Bender, didn't he?
He did.
Well, he has, but hasn't he? Been away. He'd been in Croatia for the last, because they've been at World Cup.
That's the thought he'd found out his missus is subscribed to your channel, big man.
Well, she has.
He didn't know what he did.
She's actually in my top 10 followers.
Oh wow, man! Top
So
10 views.
9 feet was sat to show his toenails off.
Aye, that's it. Aye. If I paint my toenails this way, do you think she'll desubscribe for that channel? But in all honesty, he just looked like a fart in a spacesuit. He looked as if he was in a different planet for where we all were and ready for that game. He just didn't look ready at all. When he came on, he looked miles off it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to try and dress it up to be something it's no. I can't really defend him because I think his performance isn't defendable. Other than he just looked miles away. And before the Joe Hart thing, like I say, watching the game back, he gives a ball away 3, maybe even 4. I think it's 4 times he gives a ball away, and 2 to 3 passes he's a play just before that. So people are blaming Joe Hart. People are saying that, I've seen social media. People are saying that, it's Joe Hart. It was this, it was that. No, it was the fact that we brought a guy who clearly wasn't ready to play, but it was too late by that point because the manager had already put him on. And because of the type of guy he is, and obviously he's just back for the World Cup. He's a bronze medal winner. There was no way Ange was pulling him back off. No way.
I know you want to go into something else, right, after this, right? But I want to say a word to, again, this is just my opinion and some of your support, right? Some of the comments about Juranovic yesterday game is wild. It's absolutely wild. He's not want to be here, get him away, he feeds away in other places. The guy just didn't play well. He looked so uncomfortable playing at left back. Before I had games when I just didn't play well. Doesn't mean that I was want to go elsewhere. There's been no bids for the player. So take it for face value after manager. But he just didn't play well. He could have had a bug. He looked uncomfortable and we move on. We didn't lose the game. He's not want to leave. He's not want to be anywhere. He just didn't have a bad game. Some people, I'm only talking from my timeline, what I've seen and what I've been hearing in group chats and other stuff, etc. and forums. Juranovic's got a pelting, rightly so. But there's words and reasons how you say things. And saying they get out my club and get him sold and get him that. You can say the same about Starfelt. We've seen the penalty. Forrest didn't play well. Yeah. There's other things you can say about guys maybe don't want to be here because he's done certain things. I think sometimes we need to just settle down. Sometimes I said it when he winning, right? I think I said on my Twitter, get to hell with my club winning. But I thought it was very, very much justified. It wasn't about Lennon personally. It was about Lennon as my manager. Listen, time to go now. I was really anxious. Listen, time to go. But saying it about a player who's, in my opinion, been really good for us. He's made mistakes. We've all made mistakes playing football. He's been very good for us. He came in for good value. He's going to get his good value. He's still at the club. Support him until he's still here. All this nonsense about getting him at the club and all that, it's wild. And if you're a fan and you're saying stuff like that, it's your opinion. But I think you need to take a look at yourself. It's ridiculous. He's still here. He's still playing for the club until he goes. And if he does go, he goes with best wishes because he's been part of a double team and he's been part of a team that go to the.
Has he? Aye.
What's that?
Been part of a double team.
No, a double winning team. Aye.
Yeah, double winning team as in last season.
I know, I'm kidding on.
Champions League. He's just been one of the best players in the World Cup. Cut him a bit of slack here. So there's some players who, like myself, I've maybe gained a lot of players, like guys like Barkas, right? I won't slaughter Barkas because I feel he came at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Of course, slaughtered him because his performances, but I'm not going to say get him at my club. He's rotten. He just didn't play well. I think sometimes as a sport, after games, somebody's just shooting right on Twitter. Don't go to platforms. Just take a day or so and then say your comment. I think sometimes we see. Even I've said it as well. Sometimes we just need to calm down sometimes because some of the stuff that gets thrown at players these days is something I think is a bit questionable sometimes, to be honest with you, lads.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Ryan. We can all say things with emotion and the height of a moment and stuff. And then obviously we need to backtrack quite quickly on that. In terms of JJ, I was saying he just looked miles away because he did. I'm not slagging him and saying he's a bad player. Mm-hmm. He just looked miles off what we had required for. I was going to say Sunday, Monday. And I think they sort of it fell into their hands because that's what they preyed on it because they saw a guy who was uncomfortable. They saw a guy who wasn't at it, and that's where they got their joy. And especially at the beginning of the second half, was down that side. If we had a guy, a fully fit Greg Taylor, I'm assuming, we were running away with that game on Monday. We were. If Greg Taylor doesn't have to gaff, and we just build momentum, then I'm afraid that there is only one outcome. And in my opinion, I don't think they come back into the game the way they did. And that's the only reason they came back into the game was because we were significantly weaker down that side in terms of a certain individual's performance on the day. Not the day with his all-round ability overall. But there is one guy, before we finish up, guys, there is obviously one man that I do want to mention, and it's this man here. Alistair Johnston.
Aye.
Brilliant.
He got
Brilliant,
flung right in at the deep end, in my opinion, which I predicted, by the way. As crazy as that may have sounded, if anybody that watched back on Friday when it was myself, Ryan and Barry Bannon that was on, I predicted he would play. And for a wee day or so afterwards, I still had it in my head he would play. And I wasn't letting up with it, and I was probably doing Ryan Seedon, to be honest, with that fact. Because he's giving
I
it
thought you were
that'll no
bonkers,
happen.
to be
He's
honest.
gone, no, that'll no happen. All the boys, no, that'll no happen. It's got to be JJ, it's got to be JJ. And I said, listen to the way the managers talking. The guy, Luke Shanley, interviewed him at Celtic Park on Sky, and he mentioned this a day or so before the game, and he says, what about Kobayashi and Johnson? He went, no, we've got people on it once it hits midnight tonight. This was on Saturday. Once it hits midnight tonight, we've got people on it to get the paperwork in and cleared, so they're cleared to play. And I thought to myself, right, I think he's going to play him. The reason that I was thinking that, folks, and I had my manager seat on when I was because of his physicality. And by the way, did we not half see his physicality? Probably no deliberate, but I think he's gave John Lundstrom a sorrying, in all honesty.
The big hard liver puddling with the deathly stare.
With the deathly stare, aye. Well, as far as I'm aware, it was a sorrying, and Lundstrom was finding it very difficult to breathe. And I'm pretty sure he went down holding his ribs. But that wasn't the only contact with him and Lundstrom at the weekend. Monday, should I say.
Yep.
There was one in the first half. I think Rangers got a throw in for it. And they were wanting... It ended up coming to blows between me, McGregor, and Barisic over it. But they were wanting a foul. But there was a wee bit... You could see there was a wee bit with Johnston, you know, whether I'm winning this ball or no. He knew what he was doing. But then, obviously, as the camera comes round, you see that he clearly wins the ball. But there's a wee bit of winning the ball and then taking the man as well. And there were certain moments he showed his physicality. And I thought for a debut, especially in that fixture, I thought he equipped himself well. I'll come to you with this one, Jason, first. Your thoughts on Johnson's performance overall at Ibrox, mate?
I thought he done really well. What I noticed as well is rapid, quick, by the way. Very, very quick. I think he's got all the attributes to be exactly what we're looking for the replacement of what we're going to lose. He seems to get it. He seems to have what I think what people are forgetting is he's had a good few weeks to work with Ange and the squad and find out how they play and get up to speed. So, I was really impressed with him. I'll admit I didn't think he was going to start. I didn't think he would have, but I was very, very pleasantly surprised when he came on. He with the first 5-10 minutes. I was all right. He's up for this, and we've got a good player in our hands there. Because if you can come out in your debut and handle that at Ibrox, you're going to do well for us, I think. I was very, very impressed with him. And I think about you're saying and always strength, and he's so forward thinking. He's just a typical Ange Postecoglou player. But I was really, really impressed with him. I thought he was I think he was really good, and I just can't wait to see any more of him. I think he'll play again. I think he'll play against Kilmarnock. I think Ralston's still injured, so I think he'll play now. I think he'll be first choice now until he's not, because he was really, really good. I was impressed with him.
Overall, mate, I thought second what you're saying, I thought he was excellent. And right for the off, when we signed him, I told Ryan, I says he'll be the number one. I said he's coming in to be the main man. He's not coming in to sit on the bench and play second fiddle to people. I think he's a lot more physical than Juranovic is as well. Juranovic probably has more, maybe in terms of his technical ability. However, it's a bit harsh for me to say that without actually seeing Johnston playing to be technical in certain games. You probably see more of that in terms of the Champions League or a European game where he's going to be up against a guy who's willing to, somebody like a Jota, who's going to maybe take a game to him and try and see what he's got in terms of unlocking the door. But he does seem to have a lot of attributes that I like. He's physical. He likes to get forward. He makes himself available for passes. He's not frightened to be vocal as well. I think he gave a couple of their players a few shouts. You could see that. I think Ryan put video up today where he, in no certain circumstances, I think he told Sakala about to go as well off the back of one of the incidents that happens on the field. So it doesn't look like he's kind of scared to get stuck in about it. What about yourself, Ryan, in terms of Johnston making debuts? How do you think that fares?
Obviously, with the World Cup, mate, me and you have done a stats-wise on him, due diligence on him, and I knew he was a player, mate, for what I've seen. Obviously, you can't comment too much. That is the reason why I thought to play Juranovic, because I didn't know about him much. I thought if Juranovic was fully fit, then I think he would have played. But I thought he was brilliant. There was actually, I'll need to actually find the video. There's a clip of him, and it was the second half. I think it was, it was no long before we get the second goal. He's ran about 60 yards. I think he's blocked Sakala, or he's took the ball off Sakala and Hatate's get the ball. He's ran about 60 yards, and that's the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. He's still at full pelt, and he's just at the club. And I think somebody asked him as well. I don't know if it was before it was after the game, actually. I can't remember I seen it. And somebody asked him, was it really fast and ferocious? He went, no, we play fast than that in training.
Yeah, so, I've seen his clip, yeah.
So he's saying it, he says...
He said the only thing he had was a bit more space to play in.
So in my opinion, he was basically saying, I didn't have a hard game. So the guy's confident in his ability, he's confident in the team. I thought he was very, very good. He has a bit of physical presence, which I think we're missing. I think if a player like him, and we get him in the middle of the park, and that could be on his way, but the Japanese boy, I think we're just about set in the midfield, because I think we're missing a bit of needle. Somebody to do a bit of dirty work for us in that middle of the park. I'm not going to talk too much about him, mate, because I just think it was really, really good. I seen a comment for Plunge, mate. I don't think for Plunge McNugget. It was also talking about when I spoke about Juranovic, about how they cut him some slack. He cut him some slack because he's actually done really well, in my opinion, Plunge. For the value that we brought Juranovic in, he's had a few mistakes in some games. He might have cost you a few goals, but a lot of players have cost us goals in the past. But you don't see them getting called, he's not want to be here because he's not played well. Guy, things after the field can affect you on the field, i.e., see that, this is going to sound stupid, but see that morning, James Forrest could have an argument with his missus or his cousins or whatever, and then that takes one at the park. Juranovic could be no well. You could have an argument with somebody that morning and it affects him. Just because of a bad game does not mean that they weren't up for a game, or there's loads of things behind the scenes that we don't know about. It could be family issues, no well, his agent saying things, we all know that, but that's down to Ange and him and the club to decide when he plays and when he doesn't play, or he's on the bench. I'm cutting you out of the slack because I know he's a top player. I've seen it in the World Cup. I've seen him playing for Celtic for the last year and a bit now. He's a top player. And because he makes a few mistakes, apparently that's him to go now. I'm cutting him some slack because I know what he can do. And I know when he goes, because I think that's the way it's going, when and if he goes, he'll be a top player for whoever he goes to. Yeah. And he'll probably make the same mistakes he's making here, because I'd rather players made mistakes and tried things than didn't try anything. So I'm all for guys make mistakes. If you can't make mistakes in football, then I don't think you should be playing football, because you need to express yourself, and he makes mistakes, and that's it. But for me, just on that, I do appreciate the comment, but I just think some fans need to sometimes cut players slack. Like I'm not cutting for the slack anymore. I have in the past, because of what he's done in his career for Celtic. But for me, I just think he's nowhere near the standard now. He contributes maybe off the bench, but I know he showed a heartache recently, so that people might go, he showed a heartache, aye. But for my eyes, for what I see for James Forrest now, he's not a starter in my opinion anymore. And that was probably forced. I think JP knew it. The more we look at it, I think it was forced now why he played, because it didn't work. It didn't play well. He was hiding in my opinion. And I don't see him being a long time starter unless maybe there's a cup game or he's tweaked. It's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. But I just think some players deserve slack. Forrest will get slack because of what he's done in his career, i.e. trophies and his stats. But like I said to you, JP, and it's probably going to go for Morelos as well. See, if you look at James Forrest's stats the last 2 to 3 years, I know he got injured, right? Would you sign a guy like that for a free transfer? No. Morelos, why would you want to sign a guy like that? Because his stats are terrible. It's the same thing. So that's why I didn't agree with the deal. But now I know why. Experience and knows the club, and he can be there to help guys, and he can contribute off the bench and still score goals. I get that. But I don't think Forrest is, I know it's half topic, mate, but I don't think Forrest is anywhere near the guys like Abada, Haskabanovic and Jota, and even Maeda now to take us forward in the future.
Yeah, that's why we call him Andy Gray, Jason, because we get a lot of information off him, and we're usually you look as if you're losing the will to live there, Biggie. I don't know if that's just Ryan Spiel there or it's getting to that time at night, mate. And you've realised that you've got a live show coming up in about 20 minutes, isn't it? So,
I've got.
No, as I say, in terms of Juranovic, I agree with you, Ryan. You would cut him slack for that basis because of the fact that he's been a performer before he came in. But I personally can't cut him slack for the weekend. He was trusted by the manager to come in and do a job, mate, and he wasn't up to that standard. And he could have potentially cost us big time. But the reason, and I say this to the listeners as well, and the people watching in, the reason the manager didn't take him off was because what the player he is and what he's done for the club. Mm-hmm. That itself was a big enough compliment to him. He just couldn't get going. We've all been there. Every managers have all been there. Sometimes that's what happens in football. You pull your boots on, if they're on the wrong feet, you put them on the right feet and you just can't get it going. Like Ryan says, it could be, you might have slept in for your work in the morning, or you might have, I don't know, missed your bus or missed a train, or Ryan says you have a domestic in the house. Different things can affect you. All it takes is one wee thing to throw your mind, and that's it. People will say, no, he doesn't matter to be here and he's chucked it and all of that nonsense. He was flung into a position that he doesn't play in very often. Please, everybody, remember that. He doesn't play left back all the time. He's a right back. Many games for Croatia did they play at left back at World Cup? None. Although he probably would have before they actually brought Bobby Boucher into the team, to be honest. I'd imagine the Croatian manager would have probably went along with that. For anybody who doesn't know who Bobby Boucher is, I'll give a wee memory of him right now. He's the only guy I know that sits down during a game in the middle of the park. I think there was a couple of times actually on Monday he disappeared to go to the toilet because he's seen a bada warming up. But in terms of Juranovic, he gets slack cut because of the performance levels he's gave Celtic when he's been here. And he's only been here a short period of time as well. In terms of the night, boys, that brings us to the end of the night. So I know it's been a bit long-winded for some. Probably stayed on the one topic too long, but that's what we wanted to chat about tonight. Kind of clearly here. Just before we actually do go, obviously one thing I'm going to mention is this gentleman here. Now, this link doesn't seem to be going away. And we're hearing a lot of mixed reports just now coming from Korea that his agent and him are in talks with Celtic, and he's in talks with Celtic. A couple of days ago, he was going to Galatasaray. Then the night later, it wasn't to be, but it just doesn't seem to be going away. Now, regardless of our understanding, regardless of what's happening with Georgios Giacomakis, Celtic were bringing in another striker.
Yep.
Regardless of what's happening to him, there's a third striker, like another one to help Kyogo and Giacomakis, coming in to the club. If he goes in terms of Giacomakis, we understand there will be another striker brought in, as well as another striker, whether it be Cho or someone else. But that link doesn't seem to be going away, guys. And I think personally, well, I don't think, because obviously you've got the experience of knowing what the manager's all about. He's proactive enough that he deals, whatever deal's happening, is probably so far down the line now. And whatever the media have, more than likely they're a way behind in terms of their story. So, in my opinion, I reckon it's only a couple of days to re-announce a striker. I don't have any inside knowledge before anyone asks. I don't have any knowledge at all of what's going on. But in my opinion, and it's it's an educated opinion because of the way Ange works and the way he has worked. You can read between the lines. Normally, when these links appear, they only go for a day or two under Ange, and then all of a sudden Celtic announce a signing. So it's we have done business brilliantly under Ange. And therefore, that's my opinion. I think that's only going to be a matter of days, guys, before we see a new striker. But on that note, it's been a pleasure again tonight chatting with these boys. And I will be back myself, guys, on Friday for the Goal Rush show. So anybody that's looking to tune into us on Friday, we will be live on air at an earlier time of this evening, about 8 p.m. Hopefully we can get started around about that time right away for you. Any of the listeners and watchers, I want to thank you again for all your comments. It's much appreciated for the page.
Yep, thank you.
Anyone who's not already done so, anyone who's not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. And all you need to do is go onto our YouTube page and hit the wee button subscribe. And that just gives you a wee live notification when the page is going to go live and when you're going to get to see your lovely big faces again. If you don't know how to do it, guys, anyone that's maybe a new watcher on the channel, all you need to do is set up a wee email address and a password that you'll remember for yourself. And you'll be able to hit the button, subscribe, and yeah, you'll get to see us when we go live. We are on all social media platforms as well, myself, Ryan and Jason. I will put mine and Ryan's names up just now because that, beside our names, is our Twitter handles. So you'll be able to get us on there. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. The page itself on TikTok, Celtic Unrestricted View. You just type that in, you'll get us on there. And yeah, any of you get anything to add before we call it a night? Oh,
brilliant chat again. I know I get a bit passionate sometimes in that, but I think these things need to be, especially the VAR and the SFA, it's got to be ironed out because I think people write about it, but some people don't really talk about it. And I think the more us fans talk about it and the more we keep putting it out there, eventually it will happen, because you know yourself, guys, when fans talk, things happen. But apart from that, brilliant to chat to you again. Your happy faces, and I can't wait to watch your night, Jason.
Yeah, big man, you enjoy tonight's show. I've heard it's going to be a belter. I can see it getting a bit foggy behind you, big man. I don't know if that's the steam machine. Yeah, I don't know if that's the steam machine you've got on in the background there, or that's
tonight, Matthew.
The incest pencils burning away there, mate.
Aye.
But tonight, Matthew, he's going to be live in about 15 minutes.
Aye, I will be.
A wee quick change out of that hoodie and into something a bit more comfy. Is one of them ones, big man, aye?
Well, that's it. Aye, but that's you need to pay top dollar for that.
Yeah, that's where the money's made, big man, innit? That's what it is. That's
it.
That's when the old wallet starts to go bulky.
Aye.
Enough of that part of us, anyway. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for taking the time with me again.
Guys, take care.
Massive hail to you, and a massive hail to all the guys watching in. Thank you very much.
Cheers,
guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye.